What's up YouTube? Chris here from PNW Brews, and I am back today with another homebrew video. Today I'm going to be trying out a German Hef. It's the first time I've done this one. I'm actually pretty excited about it. And we're actually going to be trying something else different as well. I'm going to be doing a single decoction, like a step mash. So that's going to be kind of exciting as well. If you saw my other videos, just yesterday I just transferred the brown ale to secondary, so there's a video for that, and there's also a video of the brew day for that brown ale. So yeah, without further ado, I'll get down to the deets on this brew day. I got my beer smith loaded up and ready. The all-important journal is ready to go here. The grain bill, we got 5 pounds German pills, 5 pounds of German wheat malt, a pound of flaked wheat, a half pound of Crystal 40, that'll hopefully give it a little color, and then 1 pound of rice hulls. The rice hulls are going to help with the filtration when we're trying to get it down through the grain bed. For hops, looks like going with just 1 ounce of Hallertau. I don't know if I'm going to use the whole ounce or not. I don't want it to be too bitter. It looks like right now, I think the IBUs is going to be at like 16 or 15.6, which isn't too bad, but I definitely don't want to go too high. I'm going to use the White Labs WLP 300. It's their Hefeweizen ale. So heard good things. So this should give us the banana clove flavors that we are looking for. All right. The decoction mash here, the first step is going to be a protein rest. Beersmith calls for 122. What I was reading online was more in the 110 range. So I think I'm going to go more for the 110 range. I'm going to do that for about 20 minutes. And then I'm going to decoct and heat it up to, looks like 154 for the main part of the mash. And my tap water actually is 122.4. So first time ever, I don't have to heat up strike water. It is good to go right now. So I guess the next step here is going to be to mash in for the protein rest. Okay, so here goes. We have 5.6 gallons of water here at 122. This is also the largest amount of strike water. Usually it's more around the 3.5 gallons, so I'm sure Beersmith knows what he's talking about, so I'm going to go with it. Make sure you've got the valve down here closed, otherwise you're going to have a hot mess all over the floor. Okay, got the grains, got the stir stick, and let's get this thing going here. Remember, pour in nice and slow, keep a good mixture, avoid any of the dough balls. My mash tun is going to be pretty full, it looks like, actually. That. Get it nice and incorporated here. Interesting smell. Smells good though. It's the first non-dark beer I've done, so I'm used to the smell of the darker malts here. So your dough balls are usually going to float more to the top, so it should be easier to find. This is looking pretty good. A little more vigorous. Okay, I'm gonna do a temp check. Yeah, we're looking for right around 110, 115. Well, I guess Beersmith's gonna be happy because it looks like we're gonna be a little closer to the range that they wanted. Right in between. So they called for 122. I wanted more, 110, 115. Looks like we're at 116 here. So I will take that. Yep, 116.6, holding stable. All right, I'm gonna give it a couple good more mixes here and put the lid on and start the timer. All right, so protein rest is done. The next step is going to be to take our first and only decoction out of the mash tun. I'm going to put it into the kettle here, bring it up to a boil, let it boil for 5-10 minutes. Then we're going to slowly introduce this back into the mash tun to try and bring the mash temp up to 152. And then that will be our final mash. So kind of the general rule for decoction is you take 1 quart of your mash for every pound of grain that you put in. So I did about 10.5 pounds. So Beersmith is calling for 10.3 quarts. This is a scooper I got here. It's about a half quart. So I'm probably going to do 20 scoops of this. You want to get as much of like the thick like grist that you can and not as much of the liquid. You're going to get some liquid, but you want to try and keep it to a minimum. I'll put a link down below. There's a great video on decoction from Brewing TV. Watched that one many times. So yeah, go check that out. I think it's Mike Dawson. Pretty cool videos over there. So check that out. But yeah, so I'm going to get started here. This is going to be interesting. First scoops. There's one. Alright, so I got the first decoction in the kettle. Try and kind of turn it up. So I definitely got some liquids. You can see there is quite a bit of the grains in there though. So that's what you really want. So we're gonna put a light flame on. One thing you want to be careful for when you're doing this is you almost got to constantly be stirring. If the grains are on the bottom and you let it get too hot, it's going to scorch, and that's not what you want to do here. So I'll briefly kind of go over some of the benefits here of the decoction. So what it does is bringing part of the mash up to the boil. It breaks down some of the outer shells of some of the malts and grains, and it allows it to kind of easier extract the starches and stuff. So you just get higher efficiency as well. Also develop almost some like caramelization flavors and stuff. It just, especially in these light beers like this German wheat, use a lot of pale and light colored malts. So doing this is going to help to really bring out the color, bring out a little more flavor, a little more body to it. So I'm really excited to see how it goes here. So it's definitely a lot more work, but I've heard the benefits, definitely worth it. So I'm going to slowly just keep stirring this. I got the heat on, be bringing it up to a boil. So I'll probably check back in, save you guys the boredom here of stirring. So we're still bringing it up to a boil here. I just kind of wanted to do maybe a before and after shot here of kind of how it's looking, the color. So hopefully you'll be able to kind of see how we're looking. Let me get you more of kind of the color here. You can see very light, very cloudy. So I'll check back in after, and we'll see how it looks after the boil. So we are at a boil. Yeah, it didn't take too long here. Let's see, what time is it now? It only took probably 20 minutes, but that was a lot of constant stirring. I just really didn't want any of this to scorch on the bottom, so I was really stirring it up. You can definitely tell it looks darker. It smells super good. I was kind of dipping my finger in every once in a while and tasting, and you can tell the taste is seems more rich. So pretty excited to see how this is going to turn out. Okay, so just cut the heat, boiled for probably pretty close to 10 minutes here. It's definitely, she's looking dark. I mean, there's almost no dark malts in here whatsoever. Just the pills and the German wheat malt. There's the half pound of Crystal 40. But I mean, this color, you can definitely tell it's dark. The grains definitely look like they've been through some tough times. They definitely look all broke down, which is good. Should get some really good extraction here. So what I'm gonna do now is slowly incorporate this back into the main mash, which has still just been resting at that 116. Slowly incorporate this back in and try and get it up to 152. So it looks like our mash held temp quite well over that time. It's at 114.1. So what I'm going to do, I got my temp probe in here, stir stick. I'm going to start ladling this back into the main mash, stirring, checking temp. Hopefully we get up to around 152. So let's get it going. Now the color difference between this and the main mash is pretty good difference here. Let's give it a stir. See what that's getting us here. So not very far. I think I'm going to just dump all of it in here. So if you notice, I am back stirring again. It's because the first decoction did not get us up to temp. So that is awesome. Got us up to about 136. I'm shooting for 152. So I pulled another decoction. Probably got a little bit less than last time, but we only have about another 10 or 15 degrees to go, where last time we had a 40-degree increase to make. So note to self, always take too much rather than too little. So yeah, so here I am. All right, so we are finally in the mash tun and at temp. Took 3 decoctions to get it up to the right temp. Definitely underestimated 2 times in a row, but we are now at 151, which is a degree lower. I didn't leave it open to really let it stabilize. We might be around 152, but I wanted to close it up as soon as possible, trap the heat in here. So yeah, I just set the timer for 45 minutes. Got this pot cleaned up from all the decoction boiling mess. And yeah, that was a huge pain in the butt. So I would definitely advise to take more on the first try than to go down the road of 3 decoctions. With that being said, I think I deserve a little beer here. So in the spirit, going with a German alt beer. So cheers. Our mash is done. Timer just went off. I have our sparge water. It's only 2 gallons for this one. It calls for 168. So we're heating that up right now. We are at 147. I'm going to try another new thing with this batch. Don't know if it's going to be good to mix all these new techniques and stuff in one batch, but oh well, we're going for it here. I'm going to fly sparge instead of batch sparge. So I just tested out this strainer. Looks like I'll be able to get it in there and kind of gently bring in the sparge water here, not disturb the grain bed. So I'm going to give that a shot. But for right now, I'm going to start vorloffing and hopefully get this grain bed set and get ready to go. Alright, letting the vorloffing begin. Really cloudy, as can be expected from wheat beers here. Another struggle with wheat beers is a stuck sparge. So hopefully we don't run into that. And we might have. Looks like whatever was stuck there broke free. Yeah, so as you can see, very cloudy, very milky. So hopefully 4 or 5 of these will take care of that. Alright, so this is probably my 6th or 7th full pitcher here. It's definitely still cloudy. Not quite as milky looking as it was though. So I'm kind of thinking for a wheat beer, this is maybe just how it's going to be. So I think after this one, I'm going to do one more just to really be on the cautious side. But yeah, this is the most I've ever done with a beer. So give her one more after this one. But yeah, I think you can tell a difference. Definitely is looking a lot more of a kind of ambery color rather than the kind of milky white it was earlier. So, alright, I'm gonna give her one more shot. Alright, so we are draining the first runnings into the boil kettle here. About to start with the fly sparge. Alright, so we are ready to begin the fly sparge. So I have my strike water here, it's at 168, my 2 gallons. We are slowly running off into the boil kettle. So what we're going to do is going to slowly take water from here and slowly just fly sparges right over the top. The rule of thumb, kind of when your grain beds start to become bare at the top, when the water level gets below the grain bed, that's when you want to start slowly adding in. So let's get going on that. Pouring in with the strainer here, it doesn't disturb the grain bed, just gives it a nice kind of nice trickle. It's kind of like a rain.
so we have now made it to the boil. I just took a sample for gravity read. It is in the fridge, chilling down to ambient temp. So it looks like we hit our volume though of 6.5 gallons. So yeah, I'll check back in at our first hop addition, which will be maybe a little less than an ounce of Hallertau. All right, guys, we are up to boil here and past the hop break, so it is now time to add the 1 ounce of Hallertau. So in they go, 60-minute mark. Alrighty, so I'll check in after boil.
Alright, so the boil finished up without any issues. Brought it inside, chilled it down to I think 71. Aerated it into the primary fermenter and pitched the yeast. So that White Labs 300, their Hefeweizen yeast. Pitch temp is 67 to 72. So I think I pitched around 70. So yeah, really excited to see how this one's gonna turn out here. Looking good. So, alright, well I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to give me the old thumbs up below and subscribe for more videos. The next video, I guess my future plans here, gonna transfer this to secondary, and then I think I'm gonna try and bottle this and the brown ale that I did last week all in the same time, have those conditioning together and be ready to go. So yeah, alright, until next time, cheers.